think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
So speaking of Bitcoin, I mean, you're still making bold calls based off the charts. For me, I've been averaging a little bit into Bitcoin, just a small amount, just weekly. But I also mine Bitcoin as well, and that kind of gives me a dollar cost average kind of thing. But I do have a long-term put on some of the Bitcoin mining stocks just for long volatility. So nice. What are you looking at with Bitcoin?
Yeah, so Bitcoin is behaving just like the chart tells us it should, which by that I mean you had this great fall from the November high all the way down to this January low with very little bounce along the way. It also coincided with a perfectly parallel line. This line up here, perfectly parallel with this one, that gave us a major support right there. And then usually when you have such a big fall, usually what doesn't happen, you don't get a small bounce and then break down, right? The market has to kind of essentially consolidate. And that's exactly what it's doing. So in other words, what I expect from Bitcoin is probably for another month or two even, it could just be chopping like this, going up and down in this range, maybe even going a little bit higher as well. But overall, if you study technical analysis, you know that a down move like this with sideways chop is actually bearish, right? It's longer term or midterm bearish. So after you get a lot of chop, I do think it's going to go lower. Eventually, you'll get the buy of your lifetime or my lifetime, which will be probably sub 20,000. And again, I will start accumulating down in that range. The only thing that would change my mind that we aren't in a winter, if you will, is that if we took out 69,000 again, then you have to assume it's a new bull market and we're off to the races again, which is possible. I just don't see it in the charts. The charts continue to tell me that ultimately we are in the .com period of crypto, and you have to flush out a lot of this crap stuff. I mean, again, I always say to people, like, why are there 15,000 cryptocurrencies out there? Where do we need this many cryptos? Why? You don't even need that many .coms. I mean, you got Google, you got Amazon, you got some other ones, but there were so many junk ones back in 99, 2000, and they ceased to exist. And then Amazon survived, Google. I mean, so many of the good ones survived and thrived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'm ready for the buy of my lifetime too. I mean, I bought in, early 2020. And, I sold it for little profits. I was just like, I didn't really understand it then, and I'm like kicking myself. Like now I think I looked at my Cash App. I put like $1 in Bitcoin and it ended up being like $7.
That's really good.
When I cashed it out, and I was like, wow, like what was I thinking? So we're gonna expect a correction there. So Bitcoin's kind of been acting as a safe haven. It seems like with the Ukraine thing going on. I mean, Bitcoin and gold have both been going up together, which has been interesting. And so so I'm just interested in how it's all going to play out.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Is that gold was going up without Bitcoin prior to the Russia invasion of Ukraine, and then people started to connect the dots, and I think very, very worthwhile that the sanctions on Russia about locking down accounts and so forth. Well, if these oligarchs, these billionaires put their money in Bitcoin, they can really have access to it anywhere in the world without sanctions. And you absolutely saw a jump in addresses holding, 1,000 Bitcoin or more. And it probably is why Bitcoin has had a recent move to the upside. In addition, I think it's the perfect use case. Like geo instability makes Bitcoin a no-brainer in many ways. Now, again, this doesn't change my near-term, my mid-term outlook of that eventually we're going to see more downside. But again, I think it builds another building block for cryptocurrency over the long term, where I do see crypto going to 500,000 on Bitcoin or even higher. Again, these are the types of things that you have to build a base for why it's so important. Why is Bitcoin so important? And this is another example of that. And again, the dollar, the printing of the Federal Reserve, and the government spending, I mean, these are all key foundational points of why Bitcoin long-term should survive and thrive.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, it's helping contribute to that foundation. And Bitcoin hasn't experienced anything like this. And so at first we saw that sell-off, and then people started coming to their senses and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely helping the foundation.